Good morning and welcome to Caretaker's Corner, where we discuss everything that has to do with taking care of our elderly and disabled parents, our disabled spouses, and our adult disabled children. My name is CJ and I am your guide on this wonderful journey into caretaking. So, in most of the country right now, we're having a lot of natural disasters. And one of the biggest items you have to take into account, the government will tell you that you should always have a 72-hour preparedness, food, water, and like flashlights and stuff. But when you're a caretaker, this goes to a whole nother level, because you have to take into account power supply for medical devices. So whether that is, like here, we have for everybody has a little jackery for their side of the bed. Barbara has hers, the cord attached to it. And not sponsored, by the way. So the jackery is a power supply, and you can charge it when like right now we have electricity, we can put it in and make sure it's fully charged. And then in the case that it does get run down and we still don't have electricity, we have solar panels so that we're able to charge it back up. We also have a generator. And we did not get the generator like most people. We were not proactive on that generator. We were with the jackeries. But we ended up losing electricity here due to a storm a few years back, and we lost electricity for a couple of days, as I recall. And that's when we ended up getting the generator, because we couldn't afford to do that again. Now, our generator is it takes gas or propane, so we can do it either way. We just use gas. But depending on the level of medical devices you have to use, you need to think about upgrading on the power of your generator or your power device like that. Now, they come a lot bigger than that. We each have a small one. Everybody else in the house has a CPAP. So if we lose electricity, their CPAPs quit working. Every one of them will wake up just almost immediately when that CPAP stops working. So they all have those on the side of the bed for when we lose electricity on that. We also have electrical cords run out to the generator so that we can hook the refrigerators up to them, because at least one refrigerator, because several of the medicines everybody in the house is on, it has to be refrigerated. So you can't let them, reach room temperature. So we're able to keep at least one refrigerator running, and then sometimes my coffee maker. But that's a totally different story there. Also, another thing you have to take into account is supplies. So, back to the if you have lift chairs. Now, with my dad, what we did is we had a plug-in power supply, and we ran his chair through the plug-in power supply. So the power supply was plugged into the wall, the chair was plugged into it, and that way, in the event he lost electricity, he had, I think it was 2 or 3 hours worth of use. So he could go up and down as much as he needed using that power supply. So that is something to take into account, because like in my dad's case, if the chair was all the way back, without power, he couldn't get it, if it was in the seated position, he usually could, because I had it up on a pedestal for him, so he was able to get up and down, but if it was laying back, he was not going to be able to move. So that's something to think about, because that way you can still keep moving. They're not going to be stuck. Because the longer they're stuck in that position, the bed sores can set in, all sorts of stuff. The other issue is medicines. Now, this is a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to say some stuff. I do not suggest you do it, but I know that people do it. So that is why I'm saying this. I'm not suggesting it. I'm just telling you what people have told me they do. And I know a lot of people that will skip a dose every now and then of their medicine in order to build up that 72-hour supply in case of an emergency. Also, we had a lot of supply issues back a few years ago, and heck, in my area, we're still having issues with the pharmacies constantly. They just don't have enough people to run the pharmacies, so sometimes they're way behind on getting medicines. And the issue with, there's obviously all sorts of issues with that. So the big thing is, like, your medicine may be due to be for you to receive it on Monday, and you may not get it till Friday. Well, you've just 5 days. And I mean, I know a lot of medicines you can't go off like that. You've got to have that medicine, because the side effects of going off of it immediately are worse than the actual thing you're treating. In Barb's case, she has a medicine that she can't miss because the pain will be so bad, she will just be curled up in a ball in so much pain she can't even scream. So we try to make sure to always have just a few extra on hand in case of an issue, because we've had issues before. There's been supply chain issues. Like I said, in our area, we have issues where we just don't have enough pharmacists for our pharmacies. So it takes sometimes a lot of time to get the medicine. Also, if they're on specialized foods, you want to make sure to keep at least a 3-day supply of specialized foods in a good dry area or refrigerated. My father-in-law, all of his food had to be thickened. So if it was a liquid, we had to put this thickener stuff in it. So we had to make sure to always keep that in stock. And he hated it, by the way. But we had to make sure to always keep that in the house. And then if it was a solid food, we had to puree it. He didn't like that either. But these are some things that people don't necessarily think about. Now, with Barbara right now, we've had to make some emergency trips to the doctor, so we're actually keeping bags packed, and her specialists are all 50 miles away, approximately. So when we go for an emergency visit, because we've had some scary issues, we just throw all the bags, we keep the bags packed so that we can just throw them in the car in case they end up admitting her into the hospital, which hopefully we'll be able to get through some surgery soon, and that won't be an issue, but that'll be a subject for a different video. But I know that medicines and food and providing power are 3 of the most important things that are needed in any situation, but specifically with caretakers. Right? Water also. You should always have at least 72 hours worth of water. I think they suggest a gallon a day per person. And I am very much believing, I very much believe in that rule. Dehydration is something that is hard to come back from, especially if you're elderly or disabled. Your system is already messed up. I am sorry. I'm not feeling the best today. Your system's already messed up, and you do not want your loved one getting dehydrated and then having to recover from that. And then, like I said, the importance about the power, especially with the lift chairs or hospital beds, is especially in the elderly, not so much in, like, Barbara's young enough, she's disabled, but we don't have a problem with bed sores. But with elderly, you will have problems with pressure points and bed sores. So if they're stuck in a chair for 3 or 4 days and you can't get them out, well, obviously certain other functions are taking place, and you have to keep that cleaned up, which is more difficult, especially if you're unable to get them out of that position. So, like I said, it's really important to think about these things. I mean, it sounds simple. I mean, when, like, I've got camping stoves, I can make food, that's not an issue. I've got food that I can cook, so that's not an issue. I can't suddenly make medicine. That's one of those things. I know there are sites out there where you can order emergency medicine supplies, I am not sure how they work, but I know that they're out there. I'm not sure how that works with prescription medicines, a lot of them. I know they do like antibiotics and stuff like that. So, I mean, that might be something to check out if you are, really in need of those emergency supplies like that. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything that you can think of that you would want to put on that 72-hour list other than just food and water, medicine, and electric. Because everybody out there wants to know, everybody's confused when it comes to this to begin with, or a lot of people are. And when you add in caretaking of the elderly and disabled, it just takes it to a whole nother level that you have to work with. And so, in the comments, leave me what you think that you should also have on the 72-hour list. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And, if there's something you want me to talk about, leave it down in the comments. And I hope this has really helped you out. I know that, especially like with the power supplies, you can find those like on Amazon, hardware stores, same with the generators. I think I actually bought ours at Sam's Club. And it's not a big generator, but it'll run, like I said, the refrigerator, and we can charge stuff, all of the jackeries with it, and run the coffee maker, which is really the most important of all these equipment, let's face it. But you can get that at any hardware store. And the medicine is one of those things you just got to talk to your doctor, or that's one that it's just really hard to answer on that one. I know Barb's just been on her medicine for so long that over the years that we have managed to collect, I think we actually have about, with the exception of three of her medicines, I think I've probably got about a pretty good spare supply of everything. Now, 3 of them are, there's nothing I can do about it. There's no way I can come up with extra. But, yeah. So, there you go. I hope to see you next Sunday. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And put any comments down in the comment section you want. Let me know of anything you want me to talk about. I hope this has been helpful, and have a great week. See you later.